now. How is it going? Sports world. Excellent, excellent. You know I can't hear you, right?
Haha, you talked into your fucking phone.
Yeah. Speaking of talking into the phone, I keep getting notifications from this thing called Top Hatter, so I feel like I should endorse them.
Top Hatter?
Top Hatter, yes. It's a bidding site where you can acquire random items, actually. Different items. Sometimes spectacular, sometimes asinine, at a fair price. Much like at least upwards of 25% below their retail costs.
Nice.
So if you got a bidding thumb, then check out that website I just mentioned.
Well,
Top Hatter.
Top Hatter, you guys owe us ad money now.
Ad money.
Contractually.
Ka-ching! Ka-ching!
Anything we mention on this podcast owes us money. Ernie Ball, Power Sling Strings.
Ding, ding, ding!
Money. Docker Sunglasses. Money. Just naming things in the room now to try to get us
I got Docker
a sponsorship
shoes.
deal.
Money.
Docker shoes, money.
Money. I'm not even going to mention
never mind.
I'm not going to mention the manufacturer of this computer.
Yeah. No, fuck them.
You know what I mean? I will mention the warehouse where I got the parts for that computer, though. Amazon. Money.
Amazon. Thanks for the sheets, Amazon. Money.
Money. Telling you. So, speaking of money, on today's throwback episode of on WWE Watch on Facebook, there was the Money Mayweather versus Big Show fight.
Garbage.
I sat there watching it intently, knowing that there was going to be botches all over the place, and boy, were there ever some botches.
Oh, my Lord. That was a disgrace.
Like, how you going to grab the dude? Excuse me, Jesus. Hallelujah.
That is a shout-out to Greg Opie Hughes from the Opie and Anthony Show, burping on the fucking mic all day.
That burp was brought to you courtesy of Bush Ice, which I purchased at the beer store. Money.
Money. Bring it. Bring that money.
We get it. So, it's definitely an interesting turn of events when you see, like, that kind of spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like, speaking of that, like, now you got Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar. What's this, 2?
In 2019!
Like, wow.
What year is this? I love it.
Wow.
I love that. Like, that's a match. I'm legitimately excited for that match.
I'm calling it like this. Rey's going to come out with something and pop Lesnar before the bell rings. He's going to give him a good Dyson. Lesnar's going to look like he's coming back.
Squash match.
And Mysterio's going to pop him again.
Squash match for Rey.
Pop him.
Get that title, Rey.
Get that title, Rey.
Oh, I want that. I want it bad, man. I'm praying. I want Rey to win that belt.
Like,
give Rey one more run with the belt before he leaves.
You know what I mean?
Do it. You cowards.
Has to happen. Well, you scared he's going to be too good.
Oh, that's what they scared. They all scared.
Lucha Underground. Y'all need some more Lucha Underground influence. Like, y'all need to, like, the way they write their...
Although Rey Mysterio and Lucha Underground got eaten by a monster in the basement.
Yeah, that's a terrible ending to your life. But, like, you need to get that more in-depth kind of script going on. It's like, the script's on, it's like a surface level, like, thin ice script. You need some...
That's been the problem for a while.
Yeah.
Everything being very, very surface level. You know where that's not a problem is NXT. NXT is very much deep storylines and, like, non-predictable outcomes. Like, there's been 3 contenders in a row where I'm like, oh, this is the one to beat fucking Shayna. Ooh, she's going to beat Shayna this Saturday. Ooh, definitely. 100%. What the fuck? Shayna with the... Oh, my God, she's asleep.
She went night-night. Sweet dreams and nightmares.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet dreams and nightmares.
Yeah, Queen of Spades all day.
Queen of Spades. Sleep country, wherever she's from.
America.
There we go. Sleep country.
America.
She gonna put you right on your back. Sleep.
Shayna's gonna kill you.
Oh, man. Alright, I I could have played Burning the Night as an intro for this because it is definitely a wrestling themed song.
Yep.
But we gonna get into this right here.
We gonna do it. And while you're pulling that up, all I'm gonna say is we ain't technically we weren't supposed to talk about this till next week. Excuse me. But all I'm gonna say is CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. Cult of personality.
Mic drop.
Oh, fucking CM Punk showed up on Backstage last night, and that is that's big things.
You know what? Speaking of big things, I'm taking credit for another WWE show. Fuck that noise. Fuck that noise. They knew not to call it Raw Backstage, and they knew not to call it SmackDown Stage Back, but those motherfuckers took the Backstage and made it WWE, and they gave a fucking show to that whole thing. Don't you dare try to tell me that I didn't brainchild that motherfucker. Pardon my language, you shits and giggles, but...
Pardon my language, you shits and giggles. It's such a great line. Wow.
Like, I'm getting my coach on right now. I get my heel coach on right now.
Shits and giggles is such a great line.
I was just telling you,
coach.
Like, how are you going to do that again, Vince? And I'm calling you Vince now because, like,
I know you Vince now.
I don't have a problem calling you Mr. McMahon, but I'm telling you, as much as we are using this as a platform to talk about your show that's taking up so much of our lives.
Yeah.
You know
a lot of hours a week,
A lot
Vince.
of hours a week, bro.
I put in a lot of hours a week for you, Vince.
He puts in a lot of hours.
I
do the administrative setup, and I just wait for him to get here. Like, if he doesn't show up, the show is pretty much like me reading the whole thing on there, and it sounds kind of boring. But, with Thili here, you know, we got some extra pop.
All the pop.
All the pop. Oh, man. But for real, though, it's
a lot.
It's a lot, man. Because you got, we'll break it down. You got 3 hours of Raw.
Mm-hmm. 2 hours of SmackDown.
2 hours of SmackDown.
Used to be 1 hour of NXT. Now it's 2 hours of NXT. 1 hour of WWE Backstage. NXT takeovers once every 3 months. Pay-per-views once a month. The pay-per-views are 5 hours.
Yep.
Like
5 to 7 hours, bro.
It's 8 or 9 if it's Mania.
Mania was like 9.
Mania was 9.
Oh my gosh, Mania was so flipping long.
Yeah. It went by pretty quick, to be fair, because Mania is amazing every year. But
I mean, they put it down on Mania.
They do what they're doing.
Then you got Crown Jewel. That's like 7 hours.
That's 5.
Like,
I don't watch the pre-show for that. There's no point.
Honestly, I'm lucky if I catch the show sometimes.
Yeah. 5. It's a lot. Is the point, Vince?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So to know that I tweeted this so often, so long ago, you know what I mean, and like it was for the WWE program. You're not telling me I'm not influencing the culture.
Vince had his little notepad and was like, backstage, stage back. Oh, just keep backstage.
Yeah,
exactly. To the side.
Exactly.
Waited for us not to use the term anymore.
Well, they probably fucking monopolized that, copyrighted everything. WWE Backstage is now fucking copyrighted.
He owns it.
He owns that shit. Like, I'm not mad at you, but like, I'm getting a little hot under the collar.
He's a crafty businessman.
He's crafty, very, and artsy too.
He ain't just a businessman. He's a businessman.
You had to. I don't blame you.
Yeah. Now let us handle our business. Damn.
All right. Rey Mysterio attacked
little Jay-Z for you.
The WWE champion Brock Lesnar.
Yes. Rey Mysterio certainly fucking did. He went hard in the motherfucking paint. He came out with a pipe with a wrap around the end of it, and then proceeded to pretty stiffly slam the shit out of Brock's legs. Like he was smashing those legs, bro. Brock sold it amazingly. Brock, like, you can always tell when Brock likes the guy he's working with because he sells for them like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And after Rey Mysterio's attack on Monday, Brock was selling that he couldn't walk backstage. Like he's trying to get up and he's falling back down, and like he's having to lean on people, which for Brock that's a big sight.
That is a big sell.
So like that is a huge sell. It's a crazy visual too. And we're off to the races on this one. I'm very, very excited for what I am hoping will be a wonderful little final title run for Rey. Hopefully lasts a few months, and then he can ride off into the sunset, because that boy has been killing the game for us for 25 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like
25, no, bro. It's been like, at least.
Like,
at least, yeah.
You know, so I mean, Rey Mysterio is OG, triple OG.
I remember Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah, when he was just going as Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because his uncle was the original Rey Mysterio in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And he took up the mantle, and eventually it became a thing of, like, he's not Junior anymore. He is the new addition of Rey Mysterio. Like, he is Rey Mysterio now.
Yeah,
and it's beautiful.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome his return, and you know what he's been doing since then.
Oh, yeah. Killing it.
Charlotte Flair and Natalya defeat WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, it was a good match. It's stupid because I know it could change at any moment, where you know you could just all of a sudden put the straps on a random pairing of females from the roster. But it is a thing where I go into each one of these matches that we'll talk about this week with the Kabuki Warriors, where I'm like, well, this doesn't, as far as the tag team title picture is concerned, this means absolutely nothing.
This match?
Yeah. Like, because, I mean, Charlotte and Natty are not like a team. They're just not.
That does end up feuding with each other.
Exactly. As Charlotte does with everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, and we'll talk about it when we get to SmackDown, I think, but Charlotte or was that on Raw again this week? Well, so, I mean, at some point in the last week, Charlotte and Becky faced the Kabuki Warriors as well. And it's like, well, they're not going to become the tag champions. Like,
Becky, 2 belts this time. It's tag team. Becky,
yeah.
2 belts.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it could happen. It's just one of those things where, for me, it seems so unlikely that I have trouble considering it. So these matches, to be honest, it's just these matches don't do much for me at this point.
Okay.
I'd prefer it if they were facing off against like Fire and Desire and Dakota Kai with Tegan Nox and all those things. Like the match they had with Tegan and Dakota on NXT was fantastic. The match that they had with Fire and Desire was really fucking good too. And Fire and Desire have been killing it lately. Like, you know, I think Mandy has improved drastically in the ring over the last year. I think Sonya has improved drastically with her on the like charisma side, like on the fan engagement side of it. She's killing it on Twitter and stuff now. They have their hilarious little sometimes podcast, Demandy's Nuts. Where they just go and eat, they just go and get donuts in every city that they go to, and podcast about it. Demandy's Nuts. But yeah, it's as far I just wish they would focus more, like on the tag team side. I wish they would focus more on tag teams for the women, the same way they do for men's.
I hear you, and don't let that. And I think actually voicing the concerns and sending in the tweets and all of that stuff is actually working.
Yeah, well, that's the only way they know it. Otherwise, we're just watching it with complacency of like, hey, yeah, this is it.
But then you got the people that don't even realize that they can actually make a change if they actually speak up.
Yeah, Totally.
Listen. All right. Next up, we got Buddy Murphy defeats Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. This match actually ended up bringing up a little stir on, I believe it was on Twitter, or maybe it was an interview that Cedric did. No, it was Twitter, yeah. Somebody was claiming that Cedric is being buried, and Cedric, unlike a lot of people on the roster who will see that on Twitter and start retweeting it and try to use it to their advantage of like, hey, like, yeah, like, see, people think I should be doing more and blah, 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 blah. He is using this platform to be like, no, I'm not being buried. Everyone has a place, and right now, my place is doing these matches and tearing the fucking house down. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be doing just goddamn fine right now. And yeah, I thought that was very cool, very big on Cedric for not taking the opportunity to just be like, oh yeah, I'm being wronged and blah. I should be in the main event and blah blah blah. He should be in the main event at some point. He's fucking fantastic.
Amazing.
But right now the main event scene is pretty fucking stacked, as is the mid-card scene.
Yeah.
Like right now this roster is more stacked than it's ever been, especially when you consider Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
The red, the blue, and the yellow.
Bong.
All right. We have, speaking of NXT, Triple H and the NXT roster confront Seth Rollins.
Woo! Yeah, this is awesome. Seth was going on at Triple H basically about like, you know, what I see what you guys are doing and all this shit. Triple H came out and said, listen, every time that you don't know what to do next with your career, our paths cross. And every time our paths cross, you become a champion. He's like, when our paths crossed first, you became NXT champion. When our paths crossed again, you became the WWE champion. And again, you became the Universal champion. And he's like, and now, where do you go from here? I know where you go from here. You go home. And he's talking about NXT, and it's beautifully done. Seth played it pretty well. I do think Seth has a penchant for overacting a little bit, kind of cheeseballing it up. But I also think that right now Seth is getting a lot of unwarranted hatred from the crowd. Like, the crowd is booing the fuck out of Seth Rollins right now. They are Roman Reignsing the shit out of him.
No.
And it's really weird. It all started with that Hell in a Cell finish. Like, that all of a sudden made it so Seth Rollins isn't cool. Like, there's literally a hashtag Seth Rollins is not cool.
Wow.
There's I don't know, there's this weird thing that happens ever since Cena, where if you get to the point where you are a top guy, a good segment of the crowd's gonna turn on you.
Still a good work.
I don't get it either. It's just but it is a thing that's happening. And like, I was one of the people who wasn't a fan of the way they pushed Roman Reigns and stuff like that. But I don't feel like they're doing the same thing with Seth. I mean, Seth has already lost his title and is no longer in the title picture.
They did that to Roman, and he ended up getting the title back anyways.
But he never left the title picture, really. They always had him right up in the title picture. They already don't have Seth in the title picture. Like, Seth lost his title, and the title left the show he was on. You know what I mean?
Oh, snap. Yeah, I guess.
Like, he's no longer in the picture for the Universal title at all. And the new main title on Raw, the World Heavyweight title, was going against Cain Velasquez. Now it's up against Rey. When Rey wins, they'll probably give Brock a rematch for whatever fuck off reason. But like, you know, we're at a point right now where it's going to be at least 3 months before Seth gets a title shot again. At least 3 months.
I don't know. I think WWE has a way of making things happen in a way you least expect it.
Right, but
I hear what you're saying though.
I just don't see. I don't think they. I think they have a clear path right now of things they're doing with those, and it's. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're definitely. It's not. It's definitely at very bare minimum. They're not doing the same thing with Seth that they did with Roman Reigns, which was every single main event of every single show for
about a good 3 months at least.
2 years straight, really, was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was in everything. And then he got cancer and he wasn't there for 4 months. And then he's back, and now his priorities have changed. Like, he doesn't want to be top guy there anymore. He wants to be able to take days off and hang out with his family and all that stuff. So he doesn't want to be in that constant grind of 176 days a year. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where for some reason the crowd turns on you when you get top position now. And I think it's just an overall displeasure with the company on certain things.
If they disagree with who is getting that top position.
And that has a lot to do with it. That had a lot to do with it with the Roman thing for sure. It just feels like with Seth, they're just doing it. Like, it's just like, oh, well, he's up there now. Now let's go turn on him. Because like I said, in this segment it showed it. He does overact. He's a bit of a ham sometimes. But they all loved him for what a ham he was fucking 6 months ago.
Because he wasn't on top.
Exactly. So it's very strange. Next segment.
Andrade and Zelina Vega defeat Sin Cara and Carolina in a mixed tag team match.
Carolina's my girl. I love that luchadora. She's awesome.
She's not featured as one of the featured superstars.
Well, that's because she's not on the main roster.
Oh, okay.
She is on NXT, and she looks to have gone back down to NXT because when Sin Cara came out to face someone last night, or Monday night. Who was it? Can't remember. He faced somebody on Monday, though.
Yeah.
And he didn't have Catalina with him anymore. So. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to talk about with this match. It was good. Everyone did their part very well. I think the biggest thing to talk about though is that Sin Cara is apparently looking for his release.
Yep.
He asked for his release. I think it was a week ago. It was like right after this Raw, basically, and he was denied it. So he's going to be around for at least the duration of whatever the rest of this contract is. But he's apparently not happy there and wants to kind of head off. Probably wants to try for AEW, potentially AAA, potentially Ring of Honor or New Japan. I would suspect most likely would be New Japan or AEW.
Lucha Underground.
I don't think so. I think Lucha Underground's shutting down.
Oh, that would probably make it hard to join up for it then.
Yeah, I think it's shutting down. Lucha Underground was kind of fucking people over with their contracts because they had this weird non-compete clause in it,
okay,
where you couldn't work for any other companies until 2 months after your contract ended. And, like, the shows had aired, but the shows didn't air until, like, almost a year after they were taped, sometimes.
Okay.
So, like, you would have to wait, like, a year and 2 months to get out of the non-compete section of the end of your contract, which made it very hard for anybody to work, and it was specifically TV stuff, so you couldn't get signed to WWE from Lucha Underground immediately. Like you would have to make some money working elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, and a few people got out of that. I think Ray managed to get out of that part of his contract because Conan is his manager, and Conan don't fuck around. Orale. And Johnny Morrison, a.k.a. Johnny Impact, a.k.a. Johnny something. I can't remember what his name was in Lucha Underground. But he's now in WWE again. I can't remember if it's NXT or main roster. It's all main roster now. But if he's NXT or Raw or SmackDown or one of the three.
It's got to be NXT because I haven't seen him on Raw or SmackDown.
He hasn't been on NXT either, though.
Oh, okay.
Like he's signed. It's just awaiting public confirmation and him showing up at. He'll probably show up at War Games. Is my suspicion. Like I think he'll do the sitting front row in the crowd, camera cut to him and say, "Oh," and you'll hear Morrow say, "Oh, and the newest member of the NXT roster, John Morrison, returns." Blah blah blah, and all that. And then he'll show up like 2 weeks later on an episode of NXT. But yeah, he's great. John Morrison's great, and this ought to be cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess that started with Sin Cara. Sin Cara, that was a good match.
Yeah, like we took a wicked tangent.
Yep.
That was a road trip.
Yeah, we're covering all the news at once.
Road trip with some detours right there. That's what's up. But hey, we got all the info in there. All right, Rusev defeats Drew McIntyre via disqualification.
Yeah. I mean, because we found out that because he was going to face Bobby Lashley.
Yep. But
then we found out Bobby Lashley had suffered an injury, specifically a torn groin.
He was fucking.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. He got a kayfabe torn groin from kayfabe deep-dicking Lana.
Kayfabe took it like a champ.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Have you seen that woman? She and then during the middle of the match, all of a sudden, Bobby's fucking groin felt better, so he smashed Rusev with, or as he calls him, Rusev. Because for some reason, Bobby Lashley can't pronounce Rusev. He has to pronounce it Rusev.
Rusev.
Listen, Rusev. Me and Lana, shut up. Shut up, Bobby. Let Lana talk, you idiot. And bring back the Russian accent. Fuck's sakes.
No, she got rid of the Russian accent.
I hate it.
It's gone.
I want that
so
Russian accent
gone.
back. I loved it.
CCJ.
But yeah, so Bobby beat Rusev with the crutches and got DQ'd, and then him and Drew McIntyre, who for some reason are teamed up again, are like, yeah. And then they all left, and everyone lived happily ever after, and we'll never have to talk about that storyline again, I'm sure.
Until next week.
Spoilers. Lana's pregnant.
NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler confronted Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch during a sit-down interview. Becky.
I love them both.
This was a bad bitch, though.
Oh yeah, this is a great segment, and I mean, of course, Becky's a beautiful Irish woman, so I'm always going to be Team Becky, but at the same time, I am Team NXT. And
honestly, I'm all about the underdog stuff.
Yeah, I am Team NXT, and NXT is taking this Survivor Series. But yeah, this was a great segment. Shayna and Becky had a very tense face-to-face. The way they set it up was really good because Becky was doing an interview with, I think it was Kathy Kelly. And they did it the way they always do it. 2-camera shoot. 1 camera facing Becky's face, 1 camera facing Kathy's. And then Shayna kicked Kathy out. And they were able to just cut back and forth to the face shots between the two of them. And then cut to camera of both of them facing each other sitting in that black room. Yeah, it was great. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I cannot wait for that match. Becky v. Shayna beat Bayley. Give me that shit.
All day, yeah.
All day.
All right, the OC defeated Humberto Carrillo and the Street Profits. I don't know how much I like that. So I'll go to the next one. No, I'm joking.
Fuck Humberto Carrillo.
Yo, listen, no.
Yeah.
I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Humberto Carrillo's bad at his job.
He is a high flyer.
He is a high flyer,
He's a
but
luchador
he has
extraordinaire.
no charisma.
So you got to put him with someone you can learn charisma from. That's why they're with the Street Profits.
But he's not contributing anything.
But he's learning how to be charismatic.
But he can learn that in dark match segments then. Because
you're not putting the Street Profits in dark matches.
Yeah, you are. You put everyone in dark matches. Top guys are in dark matches all the time.
That's
Bray Wyatt just had a dark match cage match to main event SmackDown.
Okay.
Top guy. Bray Wyatt's the top guy for SmackDown right now.
Okay.
So you absolutely put top guys during dark matches.
I don't agree with it, but whatever.
You have to.
I don't make the decisions.
And good thing, because otherwise we wouldn't be getting the Street Profits in dark matches, which we should.
Let's keep your ass in the seat for another fucking half an hour while you guys won't think you gonna leave and all of a sudden shit gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me at SmackDown. They're sitting there like, okay, it's over.
That's the best.
And it's like, wait, the match that they said was gonna happen didn't happen yet. And then all of a sudden the match starts happening. Oh, fuck, you mean we gotta stay for another? Like, yeah. I already spent $12 on a cup, goddammit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, dark matches are there for the live audience to have fun with, right? Like, there's no other reason for them than to have fun. And, like, sometimes it's fun to see, out of storyline weird shit. And that, I feel like, is the best way to get these guys ready for that, because then you don't expose them on an international level as having no charisma, when you can expose them to 15,000 people in the Staples Center for a Raw, and you just have them out there, have them win a match, and then have some sort of fun celebration thing at the end, or you got to do some shit. Like I just feel it did nothing for Humberto Carrillo in the eyes of anyone who's not a fan of him yet, right? Like myself. To have him out there seeming to just learn English on television. He was being taught how to say "we want the smoke" on TV.
Exactly.
But he knows how to say that.
You're learning specific.
He knows how to speak English.
Sibilance.
Right, but you should
specific
be.
Sibilance.
But you don't need this. The point is, you're exposing someone's learning stages on TV rather than building them up to that. Like it was the same way as when you don't want to put people. The same reason they used to, when NXT was just developmental, right? You would bring people into NXT to get them used to the style of wrestling over there and learning how to work TV matches and stuff like that, right?
Of course.
And that went on to the WWE Network. Now, you didn't even get onto the WWE Network part of those shows until you were at least comfortable in that situation in front of those people doing those things. And then, when you got onto the NXT doing that, you weren't going out to however many, 1.1 million people are watching Raw that week. You went out to, 58,000 or like 100,000 WWE Network subscribers who happen to watch NXT every week or just caught it that week. And that allows you to build a talent, right? And have them show up, camera ready to cut promos, ready to do whatever. And if they can't cut promos, to have a mouthpiece, it gives you time to develop a character that you're then presenting to the world, rather than to say, hey, let's watch this Mexican guy learn English by saying the words "we want the smoke" very choppily on live television in front of millions of people to very little effect. Because this week they teamed up the Street Profits with Kevin Owens again.
Yep.
So he's not even a consistent piece of the equation. He just kind of shows up randomly, and it's just weird. Because, like, he gets U.S. title shots, he gets all those things, and then if he wins one of those belts, like, it's one of those things where if he wins one of those belts right now, oh, that belt is going to be the most boring part of the show for fucking weeks.
Unless they find a way to spice it up.
By making him more charismatic, which is seemingly difficult.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't have to waste a belt like that when there's so many guys who are camera ready right now that have already gone through all the things he should be going through. So it's just a thing of prioritizing things. I don't want to see the guy fail. I want to see them make him a fucking star and then put him out there. Because like I've said every week, I think he's spectacular in the ring. I just can't. There's no way for me to give a fuck about him as a character yet. Because he doesn't have a character yet.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I still trying to figure out what to think of him, and I don't really have a defined or definitive response. So we'll move on to the next article, which is Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, defeat the Eastside Hampton Polo Boys. Squash.
Yeah, squash. We don't even. There's nothing to say about this match. It happened. It was there. I think Graves said it best this week on his podcast, where he said, "What a waste this title reign is so far." Like, Graves shot on the on his podcast this week, saying like, "This is seriously a waste of what these guys can do," and I agree. Eric and Ivar are incredible in the ring, way more athletic than they have any right to be for their size.
Why is he doing a tope suicida?
Dude, it's so fucked. He's a scary man.
Why is he
Ivar
doing a
is
springboard anything?
Scary man.
Why is Ivar doing a springboard anything? Anything. Like,
Anything.
do you know what a springboard is, man?
Yeah.
Do you see the size of Ivar? I'm not trying to weight shame the man, but like at least 20.
Yeah, he's 310, 320.
Like, my dude is like, he's
massive.
Huge. He's like a boulder.
He's too large, and it's terrifying every time he goes up to the top.
And Eric to lift him up. And then slam him down. Come on.
Freaks. I don't even want to think about what Eric does to poor little Sarah Logan every night.
Well, you went there, didn't you?
Of course I did. He's massive.
He's just
and terrifying.
A beast of a man.
Yeah, no, it's. I think they need to start. I think they need to stop with the squash matches, and have a legitimate tag team division with legitimate champions defending their belts.
I just got the cover for the next single we're gonna drop. It's called "It Is What It Seems."
Nice.
It's a dope track featuring yours truly, Dablock, as well as Jubilectron. It's gonna be some fire.
Yes, sir.
Tune in, listen in for that. Well, we're gonna go back to the last segment of Raw, which is Seth Rollins defeats NXT champion Adam Cole.
Baby! Boom!
Via disqualification.
Yeah. It was amazing. This is a great match. They tore it the fuck up, as is to be expected. Adam Cole is a fucking wrestling god. Seth Rollins is CrossFit Jesus. And when you throw God versus Jesus, there's always some gangster shenanigans that happen. I'm pretty sure I read the Bible correctly.
I don't think the Bible has gangster shenanigans.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure gangster shenanigans every time God faces off against Jesus in that book.
Oh my gosh!
All out wars between Jesus and God.
Oh my gosh!
I read the right book.
Wow.
Bible was written by Neil Gaiman, right? The New Gods reference for all you motherfuckers out there. But yeah, no, this is a fantastic match. Ended with the Undisputed Era getting involved, and a bunch of the rest of the NXT roster kind of kicking the shit out of Seth, and standing tall at the end of it. NXT is, I mean, by WWE math, NXT is on track to lose a lot of Survivor Series. but I don't think they're going to. I think this is one of those situations where the math is misleading.
Now, I was going to ask you a question.
Yes.
What do you think about everything being a triple threat?
Love it. Love it.
Doesn't that mean it's no disqualifications?
No DQs.
No DQ for the whole thing?
Every match that is a triple threat will be no DQ. I have a feeling that on SmackDown or on Raw this week. Oh wait, no, Raw already happened this week. That was last night. Fuck, it didn't happen. Shit. I feel like on social media at some point this week there may be an announcement that that Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar may also be no DQ.
Yeah.
Question.
Answer.
Do we have a Fiend match at Survivor Series yet? I don't think we do we?
No, we don't.
So, Fiend versus Adam Cole, baby.
Fiend versus Adam Cole,
baby.
Boom.
They're the only two main champions that don't have a match on it yet.
Boom.
Brock's booked with. I'm into that. I'm big time into that.
That's mind blowing because Adam Cole is I want to compare him to a young CM Punk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But better.
But yeah, with more flair.
Just dripping.
Just sauce.
I just want to point out for anybody who's not listening to this live, that match has not been announced yet.
We're calling it here.
That's just the only thing I can see that hasn't been announced that should be at this point because the Fiend doesn't have a match.
Unless they're gonna make it.
Unless they're gonna do Daniel Bryan versus the Fiend.
And then Adam Cole
leads up the NXT team for the Survivor Series match.
No, he'd have to be Velveteen Dream or something. Not Velveteen. Velveteen Dream, but
Oh, you mean a singles match for the? Match. No, that won't happen. He's got a match for the. Oh no, he doesn't have a match for the title the night before. But he hasn't. He has a War Games match the night before.
Velveteen?
No, Adam. It's Adam Cole versus, or it's Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era versus Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle.
And Johnny Gargano?
Maybe. They haven't announced that, though.
They haven't announced it? Okay.
That might get announced tonight. That's probably going to get announced tonight, the final member for the other team. It'll probably be Johnny G. Which means maybe Finn will get involved in that match somehow. There's a rumor that Finn's starting a new Bullet Club.
Yeah, I've seen that on the timelines.
So there's a rumor that that's where that's going. So we shall see. See. But yeah, that's very interesting. And I think that leads perfectly into NXT. NXT. Best 2 hours of wrestling on TV. NXT.
I didn't know where he was going with it, so I just let him go there.
Yeah, it is.
Agreeable.
It's the best 2 hours of TV every week. I love it.
Come on, computer. You can do it. You can do it. See, I don't understand why NXT isn't before SmackDown.
Because the muckety mucks and corporate are sleeping on NXT still. I'll be sleeping after Sunday. I tell you what.
Who will earn the War Games advantage? That's a good question.
Oh right, I forgot about that aspect of War Games. There is an advantage that goes into it to start it, because whoever goes in first has a teammate in there first, which makes it 2-on-1 for a little while, because only one person gets added to the match every 5 minutes until everyone's in there.
Leo Rush defends the NXT Cruiserweight Championship against Angel Garza.
Oh yeah.
That's fine. This whole thing.
Angel's pretty good.
Oh no.
No, that's this week.
Johnny Gargano ruled out of NXT pay-per-view.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Oh, no.
So it's November 6th, right?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's... So who's gonna team with... That is a pickle. I guess we'll see that tonight. We'll see who's gonna make up that fourth spot tonight.
So the first one is the OC's NXT TakeOver meets Resistance.
You can't see it right now, but I'm putting tweets in the air. Yeah, OC all day. Original club, only club that matters. They kicked the living shit out of the Undisputed Era stage, and then they were confronted by Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle, who make up 3/4 of the Tommaso Ciampa War Games team. And set up for the main event was a 6-man tag between the OC and those 3 men. We'll get to that part later. But yeah, it was a great segment. It was awesome because it just straight up started the show. Like the very first thing that you saw of NXT when you turned it on this week was the OC in the backstage the loading / parking lot area of Full Sail University, just beating the ever-loving fuck out of nice. Roddy and Adam and Kylo and Bobby. Yeah, it was great stuff. And a feud that I'm dying to see play out.
Didn't you call this feud?
I did.
Did we not call this feud like 4 months ago?
Yeah, this is... Anybody who's listened to this show for any amount of time will know that this is something I've been begging for pretty consistently. Even when there was no build up.
There was no when he first called it, there was no clear view of this actually happening
at all. And I said Survivor Series.
And he did say Survivor Series. He specifically he mentioned the match and he said Survivor Series.
You're all welcome. I feel like I brought this into existence for everyone.
Manifestation, bro. Bring it into the reality.
But yeah, this was I was smiling ear to ear. Anybody wants to know for sure, find my roommate. He's in the room, and I was ear to ear for this whole segment. I was just so happy.
Yep.
And then to bring in Tommaso and Matt Riddle and Keith Lee on that, I was like, yes, all of this, yes, bring it all in. All of these guys have history on the indies together. Let's do it, boys.
320-pound moonsault. What in the world? What in the world?
But yeah, fantastic work. Fantastic work.
That pop was brought to you by the sound of Starbucks Vanilla Frappuccino. Starbucks, way more expensive than I'd pay for in store.
Yeah, but they are delicious. I prefer for those cold coffee style drinks at the stores.
Yeah.
Monster Java salted caramel.
Oh, can't do caramel.
Well, they also have vanilla. They have Mean Bean, which is their vanilla one, and they have Loca Mocha, which is the mocha version of it.
Yeah.
They're all real good, but I fucks with caramel huge, and
I'd love to be able to fuck with caramel huge. It just gives me a migraine.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's like it's too sweet.
Concentrated sugar.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I get my fix of my a little one of those mini Mars or those mini Twix every now and again. But that's as far as I can go, and even then I have to drink some milk after it, and I gotta wait 2-3 days before I even try another one. It's ridiculous. The shit we gotta go through to enjoy the things we do.
Yep.
Oh man! All right, the next match is Pete Dunne versus Damian
Priest.
Great match. This was the second match that they have had in, I think, 3 weeks. I think they took a week off and then went again. Damian Priest won the first match pretty shystily, but in a fantastic way that we talked about on the show, where the referee got between them in the corner as the referee stepped forward and her back was to the competitors. Damian Priest, like a fucking switch went off the second she was not able to see him, just like shin to dick immediately, and got the pin. This match ended very much the same way, except this time my boy, the bruiserweight, Pete Dunne, got the dick kick in on Damian Priest. Hit him with that slam. I can't remember what his slam is called, but it was great. Pinned him, and 1, 2, 3. So now we await the rubber match. Excuse me. Which I assume will be at TakeOver War Games in some capacity. Maybe no DQ or last man standing match, something like that. Give him a stipulation for the third match. I feel.
Yeah, man. You know what I haven't seen in a while? The 3 stages of hell.
I haven't seen one of those since Ready to Rumble the movie.
Ready to Rumble?
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
It's the best movie ever made. It's the greatest piece of cinema that human hands have ever created.
I know, like...
Fight me. David Arquette deserved an Oscar for that.
Oh, my gosh. And then he ends up winning the WCW title. What the hell? And he's a wrestler.
I know, now he's an indie wrestler. Legit. He's legit making towns now. Shout out to David Arquette for making towns. Make those towns, boy.
Head up.
Congratulations. I think it's awesome that he just wants to, like, pursue something that he loves in that way, like, while he's still making shows and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I listened to an interview he did with Sam Roberts, like, a year ago when he first started doing all the indie shows and stuff, like, randomly. And he was talking about how the insurance that the companies get for the shows and movies and stuff doesn't allow for him to do those things. Okay. So he just goes and shows up and does the shows anyways. And then shows up to set the next day with a black eye.
That's great. That is great.
So yeah, big shout outs to David Arquette.
I'm taking a sip of my drink, my bad.
Drink!
Tainara Conti defeats Santana Garrett.
Yeah, Tainara Conti. I love that girl. She's a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. She is fine. And yeah, she kills it. Who did she face on this episode? Which one?
Santana Garrett.
Santana Garrett, yeah. Santana Garrett's great too. She's another one who's really good in the ring. She's got mad like charisma. When she comes out, she's very big, like very animated. She kills it when she comes out. They put on a great match. It was really, really good. Tainara is a menace. She's going to be huge when she starts getting more eyes on her.
Shayna Baszler, Dakota. It doesn't say NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler.
It's weird that it doesn't say that. This was a non-title match, but it still should say that. Out of respect. The same way you call doctors doctor. And
I
not
call
Mister.
By their first name. Fuck that shit. No, I'm playing.
But yeah. This is a good match. She brutalized Dakota. The real star of this segment was one of the girls who just, to me, it's not even fair that she exists. She's so awesome. She's Mia Yim. She's the HBIC head baddie in charge, and she is a badass girl. Yellowbone, she kills it. Yellowbone. She's she's great. She came out with a kendo stick, beat the living fuck out of Marina Shafir, Shayna Baszler, and Jessamine Duke. She broke the kendo stick like in half on Jessamine's back at one point, and it was amazing. She will make up the fourth woman in the first ever all-female War Games match.
Yeah, seeing the featured superstars of Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, Io Shirai. Io Shirai, that's what I said. I kind of hiccuped in the middle of it. Io Shirai and Bianca Belair with Mia Yim.
Yeah, so the only one on that list that's not in the match is Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai is not in the War Games match. Her chance to be on the team was if she beat Shayna. And when Mia came out and showed the fiery passion and the lust for blood that she showed on those four bitches, she won Rhea Ripley's favor for the spot.
You meant women, ladies.
No, I didn't.
You meant women.
Listen, I don't mean to call you bitches. I just don't know y'all individually.
I just said their names. I just went down a list of all of their names. Although that doesn't take... That's great. That's great. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. That was great.
But, yeah, no, it was a great segment. I'm very excited for that all-female War Games match. That is going to be bonkers.
Angel Garza defeats Tony Nese to earn an opportunity at the NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah, this is a really great match. Tony Nese, fantastic. Angel Garza, very, very good. Angel Garza, to me, is... So they're doing with Angel Garza what they should be doing with Homeboy, with Humberto Carrillo. Angel is getting the treatment that Humberto should be getting, which is he's on NXT. He's going for a secondary title. He is learning his craft on the mic. He is learning the charisma that he needs. He had a wonderful little segment with Lio Rush, where, once again, Lio Rush is, like, one of the most charismatic motherfuckers to ever live.
Ever.
Like, let's be real. That dude is...
The 24-year-old piece of gold.
As much as we talk about the Street Profits just sousing. Dripping.
Dripping with that
like,
sauce.
Leo is doing that and has been doing that for, like, a year longer on this stage than they have. And... got lost in the shuffle for a minute because he became Bob Lashley's hype man. But then he had those problems with people backstage and rumor reports and apparently some serious depression issues that he was going through and all that. And now he seems to be bouncing back to a whole nother level than even where he was before.
True.
And they had a great segment with him. He allowed his charisma to help elevate Angel. Angel is not the most charismatic dude, but he's great in the ring. But what he did was he got up to the top of the ring. Him and Leo are face-to-face because Leo comes out to kind of congratulate him and be like, hey, we're going to face off. Like, we're going to fight. And, looking him dead in the eye, saying, doing the, you don't want this. You don't want this. Like, with his fucking voice and all that. But, like, being like... not being a heel with it, just being very like, yeah, you ready? You ready? You want to go? And Angel just heels up and shoves him, and like that lifts Angel a bit because he is doing something with someone charismatic and is getting in there with it. Okay. But it's not in a way that exposes how little charisma he has. It's masking the fact that he is learning.
Okay.
Which is what I want them to do for Humberto.
Well, maybe they're trying to do that, but they haven't heard this podcast to do it properly yet.
Yeah. Well, you want to take something from us, do that, please. That's yours. That is officially... That is a handout.
We're trying to help you out with your products. You know what I mean? We got a product. Our product's working so far.
Yeah, that is a handout.
All right. Dominic Dijakovic.
Dominic Dijakovic.
Dijakovic. That's what I said, Dijakovic. Defeats Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yeah, Swerve. I like Swerve. He's good. He's a dude who has tons of charisma, tons of in-ring ability, like off the jump. The only thing is I think he needs to learn to focus it a little better into something that's more widespread palatable, like initially, just to get people in there. But I think what he's doing is working. I think it's just at the point right now. I think he just hasn't hit yet. Like he's not one of the names that everyone's talking about every week, but he will be. He's very good at what he does. Dijakovic, fantastic big man. Once again, one of those dudes who just has no goddamn right being as fucking athletic as he is. But here we are, and there he goes doing crazy ass, long distance frog splashes, moonsaults, Spanish flies with Keith Lee off the top rope, like mad shit.
That's just bonkers.
The dude's like 6'8". The dude's huge. And Keith Lee's a big boy too.
Yeah.
Keith Lee arguably is even bigger. Like he's about the same height as Dijakovic, maybe 2-3 inches shorter. But he's stout. He's a stout boy.
Boss.
That boy's got
He's
got mass.
That boss, man.
That dude's got more mass than Kanye. Bum. And he and they did a goddamn Spanish fly off the top. It's unbelievable. So yeah, they him and Angel they put on or not Angel. Who's my man? Swerve. Him and Swerve put on a fucking a beauty of a mid-card show.
Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle versus the OC ended in a no contest.
Yeah, there was some shenanigans. Tommaso, Riddle, and Lee were doing very well, holding their own against the Good Brothers. It was real back and forth. Like it was one of those matches where the whole time you could see it going either direction. Which is why the no contest was a good call. Nobody goes over, nobody wins, as my boy Dusty Rhodes used to say. And they at near the end, most of the teams were outside the ring, and all of a sudden, it's just AJ and Tommaso in the ring. AJ has Tommaso down on the ground, and Finn Balor's music hits. Mm-hmm. Finn comes down the walkway and takes out Matt Riddle, beats the shit out of Matt Riddle, and then looks at AJ, points the guns at AJ like that, the Bullet Club guns. AJ looks back at him, throws up the two sweets, turns around again, starts attacking Tommaso. As he's attacking Tommaso, Adam Cole Bebe comes in, Tommaso takes out AJ. Tommaso's standing there, and Adam Cole Bebe comes flying into the ring, takes out Tommaso with a last stand, I think it's called.
I think so.
Last.
And he needed the back of the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last stand.
Last stand. Hits him with that, and then is looking at Finn and throwing up the UE against the fucking guns from Finn. So, I like it. Yeah. I like how unclear Finn's objective is right now. Like, it's clear he's there to send a fucking message, but we don't know what he actually wants. We just know that one of the things he wants is for everyone to be on notice. But we don't know where he's aligning himself, who he likes, who he doesn't like, if he's face, if he's heel, if he's either.
Anti-hero.
Yep. And maybe not even that.
Just stretching it out here.
Yeah. And all we got left is Smack Dizzle.
We're at the hour mark.
Beauty.
And we still got this show, but we can wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll do SmackDown, and then while you're pulling that up, I'll just say the things that I wanted to say about the AEW Full Gear because it's not there's not much. I've watched 2 matches. I've said it before on the show. I'm not AEW packaging as a whole is not vibing with me yet. To me, it still feels very 2008, 2000, early 2001 WCW. Like it feels like Thunder to me, which is not a good feeling. Because we all saw where WCW went after the Thunder. Yeah, like that kind of worried me. Like we've got Jake Hager in there. Formerly known as Jack Swagger.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, how are you so unoriginal that the name has to rhyme? Are you intentionally meant like that?
Yeah.
Like,
So he's been in Bellator for 3 fights now.
Yeah.
His first 2 fights were against what we call in the Combat Sports World Still Cans. Which means you can beat them. Oh. And not only can you beat them, but you goddamn better, else it's going to be fucking embarrassing.
Okay.
And he beat them both. But then in his 3rd fight, 3 times within the first 2 minutes of the fight, and this is with Santana and Garrett, or Santana and so-and-so and Chris Jericho are all in the crowd promoting AEW and how Jake Hager is a big part of AEW and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. 3 times in the first 2 minutes of the fight, Jake Hager just boot fucks his opponent right in the dick. Like 3 low blows in a row in a legitimate Bellator MMA match.
That's no good.
And it ends in a no contest. So that's not real great promotion for AEW.
No.
It doesn't say much that they call him a legitimate badass when they're on AEW, and then he goes and gets no contested for dick kicks in MMA.
Yeah, that's
and that his only 2 fights are against dudes who have part-time jobs working at meat packing factories or laundromats, which his first 2 fights were.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's there's something that doesn't sit right with me with the AEW packaging overall, and so it's hard for me to sit through entire episodes of it. I enjoyed the Santana and whatever the other guy's name is versus the Young Bucks match that opened the show for Full Gear on Saturday. That was a real good match. The finish was not super memorable.
I was going to say, by the sound of it, lackluster.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great match overall. There was a lot of crazy shit. It just has the same problem that I think a lot of matches have in the indies, and specifically with the Young Bucks, is there's not enough substance behind the flips. Now, I would say in this one, Nick Jackson did sell a leg injury throughout the match very well, and there was the story of that being told, but I would also argue that overall it didn't, none of it actually like clicked as much. The other match that I watched was the main event, which was what they called a lights out match. The lights were not out. The lights were on the whole time. It meant it was a non-sanctioned match, and it was between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, 2 guys I like a great deal. Okay. The way that they set it up is weird. So you know how in a non-sanctioned match they just say, this is a non-sanctioned match usually, right? Well, in AEW, they call it a lights-out match, and what it means is before the match, the lights will turn out for literally a split second, and when they come back on, AEW is no longer responsible for anything that happens in the match that follows.
Okay.
It seems like a weird way to introduce it. Like, it seems just like it's overly complex with no actual need to do. And the lights didn't even actually turn out. It went red like it was a Bray Wyatt match for a second, and then went back to normal lights, and then went red again, and then went to normal lights. And there was no announcement of, now it's non-sanctioned. It was just, you're supposed to just understand that now it's non-sanctioned. It's very strange.
How am I supposed to understand something you don't explain?
Yeah. There was a lot of blood in this match. At one point, Kenny took out a big black bag, like the bags that you normally throw thumbtacks in for like a Extreme Rules hardcore match.
Yeah.
You know those like black leather or black felt bags?
Yes.
It was one of those, and you automatically assume thumbtacks. But then he pulls out a shard of glass. For Block, you can't see this, but it was about this big. It was about like, a couple inches by a couple inches.
Yeah, that looks like it's about at least 8 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah, and he took that and went to cut Mox's forehead with it. Mox fought it off, but then he cut between Moxley's fingers with it. Like paper cut through the finger style, but with a big shard of glass.
Jesus Christ, ow.
Yeah, and then while Mox was selling that, he threw the big shard of glass back into the bag with all the other big shards of glass, stomped on them to break them so they're real small, jaggedy shards, poured them out over the ring, and then started like back body dropping and fucking pile driving and power bombing and all that. Pour Mox's back into the glass. Moxley got a few of those in on Kenny too. Then there was a big bat covered in barbed wire that they not just hit each other with. Kenny grabbed it, pushed it into Moxley's chest, and then dragged it across, causing multiple lacerations across his chest and abdomen that immediately started oozing blood. Kenny got a couple big, took a couple big hits from a couple things like that. Again, he got DDT'd into the broken glass, thrown through a table on the outside of the ring. They fought up the ramp, and at the top of the ramp, Kenny started screaming for Young Bucks and Hangman Page to bring it out. And then they all come out and they're like, "No, man, this has gone too far already. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that." Like, they're literally saying it like, "No." And Kenny grabs Matt Jackson by his hoodie, pulls him forward, and says, "Go get it now. You have to. I'm putting an end to this." And they go to the back and they come back out with what must have been a 10-foot by 11 or 12 foot. It was a slight rectangle sort of thing going on of like steel scaffolding with a big empty middle that was not empty. It was filled with like a spider web cacophony of barbed wire. And Moxley put Kenny in a front face lock, suplexed him, and they both went into this web of barbed wire that they then had to both be lifted out of by the Young Bucks and Hangman Page and all the backstage crew. Yeah. And when they got out, the amount of blood that started pouring out of the amount of cuts on their backs, where you could literally see just blood spurting out of all these straight, small cuts that were now on their backs, was insane. Moxley had some massive blood coming out of his face and chest. Kenny had some real bad lacerations on his front side too. And then it ended with John, I almost called him Dean, John Moxley he cut the ring apron off. Like, he cut all the ropes holding on the ring apron, and then he pulled the canvas back off the ring, and then he pulled the mats underneath the canvas off the ring, exposing the timber boards, and just, like, started dropping Kenny on his head over and over onto that shit. Like, dirty deeds and fucking suplexes, like that, like brainbuster suplexes and all that kind of shit, just dropping him, and pinned him 1, 2, 3. Fucking John Moxley goes over in the end. Started a lot of conversation online about if it went too far. I saw those conversations before I went in, and I was like, "Shut up, pussies." And then I watched it, and I said, "Holy fuck, I might be a pussy." Because I don't know, man.
From what I heard you describe, bro, that sounds intense.
It was pretty disgusting. Like, a lot of it was really fucked up. Like, It was like watching, I said it to you before the show, it was like watching old school CZW John Moxley deathmatch style shit.
Yep.
Like, there was broken glass and all of the cuts with all of the blood, and it was brutal as fuck.
Well, they kept you watching. So
10 out of 10 would recommend watching that match, though.
Yeah, all right. Now
with a barf bag.
We got SmackDown details to dish to you.
Yeah, I feel like SmackDown's going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially if I go King Cobra, lambasted Roman Reigns with insults ahead of their match.
Yeah, sure did.
See what I mean?
This section, you know, I love Corbin. I'm a big time defender of King Corbin. I think he's one of the best pure heels right now. This promo did not showcase that. I think they kind of overexposed Baron in this one. He kind of was muttering through a bunch of stuff. A bunch of the insults didn't really land for anyone in the fucking arena. And he just, went off about, oh, Roman's not here because he's with some sick kids. So, yeah, this was kind of boring. Shitty way to start the show. But I feel like everyone was still kind of tired from all the jet lag from Saudi the week before and now being in England. And, yeah.
The New Day defeats the Revival.
Top guys.
To win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
Bullshit.
Don't be salty.
They cheated.
The seven-time
tag team champions.
Champions of the world.
Cheetahs.
Don't stay mad. It'll take up too much of your lifespan.
Dash couldn't see the tag. He tagged him behind the fucking guy's back. Big E's too big to see a tag hit his back. How's Dash supposed to know he's supposed to fight? It's not fair. He cheated. Top guys.
New Day knows when to make a tag and how to make that tag.
Yeah, cheating.
It's unfortunate that, you know what I mean, that they got the sour sap of the bag.
God damn it.
It's just what it is. Oh,
fucking
man.
New Day.
That was great, yeah. It was a good, solid match. You know what I mean?
It was a fantastic match. No, it was great.
When these two get in the ring,
it was a fantastic match.
Comparable to like the Uso.
Oh yeah, no. I'm excited I'm really excited actually that New Day's in the match. I would have loved it to be Revival versus Undisputed Era versus the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be pretty awesome to see Ivar and Big E square up.
Oh, okay. That's going to be fucking...
That's disgusting.
That's going to be ball.
Yeah. That's going to be fucked up.
Big E is a big dude. 305.
Massive.
And Ivar is no small
slouch. And they both do topes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but like, what are you doing? Like, you know what? I think that's Big E's next move, top rope.
Please no. I get so terrified every time he does his tope because he almost fucks it up every single time.
Yo, bro, like, God forbid it. Like,
there's been a couple times where I've been like, Biggie's dead.
Yeah, where he spears
and he lands on his head on the ground.
Man. I'm
Biggie's dead. We just lost Biggie. Rest in peace.
We just lost a real one. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace, my boy. But like, I'm just, he can't go top rope. I don't want to see him go top rope. That's too much.
It's a new reign. Yes, it is.
Ooh.
Okay. I just got news that I have a dentist appointment next Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Gotta keep these pearly whites clean. Clean. Imperium blindsided heavy machinery.
Yeah, they did. They came out. They kicked the shit out of my boys. My poor dear sweet Tucky and Otis. Love those motherfuckers. Crazy fucks. I would like to see at Survivor Series, in some form, I would like to see Imperium versus Heavy Machinery. Like it does. It doesn't have to be a singles match, but maybe if both teams are on the NXT and SmackDown and Survivor Series match teams.
Because they have a tag team, right? They have the tag team match too.
Well, there's already a tag team match, but it's the championship match, and neither of them are champions.
No, they have the tag team elimination match where they pick 5 tag teams.
Like a tag team turmoil?
It's like, it's kind of like that, but it's a tag team elimination match, just like the
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro, there's a tag team elimination match.
Well, that'd be cool then. They'll have to be in that. They have to be.
Yeah,
they got to see each other on that because that's gonna be great.
But they're NXT UK though, aren't they?
It still counts as NXT.
Okay. Just wanted to like.
While they've been in the UK, it's still been all considered part of the NXT invasion.
Okay. Definitely. Okay, what else we got here? Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro defeat Shorty G and Ali as Daniel Bryan watched on.
Oh, Shorty G is such a weird thing still.
I'm playing WWE Supercard, and what character did I get?
Shorty G.
Holy shit! I said this is not real.
I can't believe that's a thing now. It was a good match. Cesaro's always fantastic. So is Shinsuke. They did their thing. Shorty G and Ali did their thing. They're both amazing in-ring talents as well. But yeah, this is all playing into the Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan sort of storyline that's going on right now. Because I believe if this has its own segment, feel free to cut me off and read the headline to it right now. But right after this, I think it was, or maybe a little while after this,
it would have been something.
Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn were talking backstage, and a certain someone showed up.
Didn't say that, so feel free to.
Okay, is that the main event then? That's what it's showing as the main event?
No, what's showing as the main event is not that.
Okay. Well then, Well, something came up before the end of the night, but Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn were talking in the back, and our boy The Fiend came in and attacked Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
And Sami ran away like a coward.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah. I remember you gave me the update on that one as to who the next one was supposed to be.
Target.
The Fiend's next target was, yeah. All right. We got Sasha Banks defeats Nikki Cross before NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler attacked Bayley.
Yeah, this was it was a good match. Nikki is always good. Sasha is always good, despite the fact that she looked awful during the show. I believe my exact words to you were, whoever did Sasha's makeup tonight, even if it was herself doing it, needs to be fired from the company immediately and banned from using makeup on anyone ever again. She looked like she was in whiteface. It was terrifying.
Oh, man. That was terrible.
But yeah, and Shayna came out, beat the fuck out of Bayley.
Bayley got beat again? Damn.
Yeah, but Bayley got her revenge this week. We'll talk about that next week.
Yep. Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman got into it in Manchester.
Yeah, they didn't get into it as much as they became best friends.
Well, something like that.
Like, they kind of did a Step Brothers things of, did we just become best friends? Yup. And then they kicked the shit out of
B-Team, go.
Yeah, because they came out, they said no one would be stupid enough to try to take on this team of Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury. And just as they said that, the B team comes out and what's his name? Curtis Axel says, "Hey, we're stupid enough to not be afraid of you two." And he after he said that, he basically Bo Dallas tried to correct him. And Bo Dallas said, what he means is everyone knows that the B&B team stands for fearless.
Why wouldn't they say bravery?
Right? Why wouldn't they just say bravery? It's perfect. So they both got in the ring. Braun Strowman slammed the fuck out of both of them. Tyson Fury punched the fuck out of both of them in the face. And then it was over, and they teased that there may be a WrestleMania tag team match where Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury are going to be facing a couple other motherfuckers. Who knows? Maybe the tag team champions.
They'd be unfortunate individuals, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoever it is.
So look out, because y'all going to get these hands.
Yeah, all four of them.
Carmella and Dana Brooke defeat Fire and Desire.
I was so happy about this. I love Fire and Desire, but I was so happy to see Dana Brooke get a pinfall victory on television.
Yeah,
like, holy shit. When's the last time we saw that happen? Fucking like a year ago when she was still in Titus Worldwide. Like Worldwide? Never forget. Rest in peace, Titus Worldwide.
Rest in peace, Titus Worldwide.
But yeah, Dana got the fucking pinfall, man. Dana actually scored a perfect, like, clean as a whistle victory right in the middle of that fucking ring. Awesome. On Sonya, I think, too. It wasn't even like it was on Mandy. Awesome. So yeah, that was awesome. Good for her. I actually hope they kind of team them up more and position them for a tag team title feud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got King Corbin defeats Roman Reigns.
Yeah. I forgot. This is the main event. This was garbage. Fucking Roman Reigns. I mean, good for him. Roman Reigns did the job. He took that fucking 3-second tan like a man to Corbin. But it just wasn't a great match. These two don't have the... They're really good. They're both really good in the ring. They just don't have the best chemistry together, I don't think. No. And their feud's going nowhere. Like, there's no... I don't see a plus side finished for either of them.
It's going uphill.
Is it though? Like putter. It seems
it's going uphill in a putter because like
it's a real shallow incline. It's anything.
Like maybe that's what it is. It doesn't look like it's a hill, but like it's not a meteoric rise like with Ricochet or like you know what I mean. Even Drew McIntyre had like it's still up on a rise where you can see. You know what I mean?
But it's just it was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't like the match that much. I thought it was cool that Baron won because, like, Baron going over fairly clean on Roman Reigns is a pretty big shift. Like, that's not something you expect to happen all the time.
I don't know if it was fairly clean because Dolph and Bob, you know what I mean? Dolph and
did they get involved in
Robert got involved, yeah.
Wow, what a memorable match that was.
You know what I mean?
Well, I take it back. He didn't win clean as a whistle, but he did win.
Yeah, and that's what matters to him, I guess.
It's all that matters. If the ref didn't see it, clean as a whistle.
I've said that
a million times.
How does that not apply to New Day? No.
The ref did see that, and it was bullshit that he let it go. There's a tag behind the back. Bullshit.
Behind the back.
Fucking New Day cheating bastards. Top guys.
That's great. That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it was just this. Their feud doesn't mean much to me. The Roman Baron feud doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Okay.
I guess it's a little bit better than the Chad Gable, then Shorty G, Shorty Gable, and then Shorty G storyline. That was pretty garbage.
Yeah.
Other than the fantastic matches we got out of Gable,
it almost played out the way you said it would. Actually, no, it played out the way you said it would. It's like because you said
I said Baron first.
You were teetering. You were teetering between like you called the finalists, and you were teetering between Baron and Shorty, and then you're like, you know what, gotta go with Corbin.
Yeah,
and I'll be damned.
I called the finals first round, and then I think it was like the day of the finals when I picked between Corbin and Gable.
Yeah,
and I was so sad to be right, but
you were right.
I was, but and I was happy that Corbin did exactly what he should have done, which is get that ridiculous custom robe and that stupid fucking crown and scepter, and he is living that Corbin the king gimmick up, and I love that.
Over the top with it.
He loves it. He loves being king.
Oh man! All right.
And then after this is when the backstage thing happened. Fiend attacked Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
We'll see where that goes, because as of that moment, they kind of set up two separate stories for Daniel, because there's the Daniel kind of being tempted to the dark side by Sammy to join a team of Shinsuke, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan with being managed by Sammy, which is... I'm so into that story. I think that's fantastic.
That's bonkers.
That'd be an amazing stable.
To give the Canadians so much power?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Man. But then it would also be pretty great to see The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan after the history that him and Bray Wyatt have when they tempted him into the Wyatt family for a while years ago.
True.
So like everything has a lot of history towards it that you could build on for both stories, and you could technically still do both, because if he loses to The Fiend, he could take that as his initiative to then want to join Sammy and get more opportunities.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's an hour and a half for you.
Boom.
And
hit that mark.
We touched
every time
on all bases. You know what I mean? We got the AEW, we got the WWE, we got the NXT, we got there wasn't much in ROH or NJPW.
No, There's rumors. The only thing I'll say is rumors right now. I guess Jericho is going to New Japan for another one-off match for the IC title there. I think he's going for the NJPW Intercontinental title.
Okay.
Maybe IWGP Heavyweight. I can't remember which one he's going after.
Okay.
But I don't even know who the heavyweight is right now. I think it might be Okada again.
Oh, shit.
Which would be fucking, like... Okada is the Hogan of fucking of New Japan. That motherfucker gets a 3-year-long title reign, loses it for 8 months, and then fucking wins it again. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
We get somebody else up in here. Like, can you find another Japanese guy taller than 6 feet, please?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Oh, NWA is a good point. NWA is back now, too.
Yeah?
Billy Corbin of the Smashing Pumpkins fame owns it.
Okay.
They are, I think Nick Aldis is the champ, right? Nick Aldis? 2 times already? Oh, 2 years straight? Well, no, but he lost it to Cody for a while. He lost it to Cody at the first championship. But before that, he was 2 years. And Nick Aldis is the husband of Mickey James. Mickey James and Nick Aldis have been married for like 7 years or some shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're killers. Yeah, he is. Here, say it, man.
Yeah, Nick Aldis is a modern version of Nature Boy Ric Flair when it comes to NWA. And I'm really proud of Nick Aldis. Like, good job that he's reliving the legacy of the NWA, because we really need that good old classic old-fashioned
100%.
wrestling again.
Yeah,
Like,
sure. Like the top guys bring to the table. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. Did you watch WWE too?
WWE.
Have you seen Revival?
Yeah, but like I said,
You need the old school.
Not lately
Yeah.
with WWE. I'm not too impressed with them.
So there's a team in WWE that you'd probably really like called the Revival.
Yeah.
And their whole thing is no flips, just fists.
Actually, I did see a little bit of that. I thought that was pretty impressive too. But I think overall, the whole content, the whole product, they gotta at least make it PG again. I think.
Yeah.
If they want to get their fans.
I think
back
they're PG-13 again now. They just started going.
That's
so
really good.
yeah.
At least an improvement.
Yes. Exactly.
Because nobody wants that cartoony stuff.
No. There's a couple cartoony things going on right now that are needing
we're
to be
so
finished.
happy that you're our friend.
Well, no, that's great. That's cartoony shit we all love. That's cartoony shit we all love. Because it then turns into a horror movie.
It is a horror movie, I'm telling you. But like when it comes out of nowhere all the time. It's like the Firefly Funhouse. It's like,
so much.
oh my goodness, are you kidding me right now?
I'm really impressed with AEW though. Like,
see, and I'm sort of on the fence with them still. I feel like they feel a little bit too. To me, they kind of are feeling like late era WCW, which is kind of annoying me. Like they feel like any week they might do a Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which terrifies me.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. Like that idea terrifies me. But when they bring Jack Swagger back in, I'm kind of like, is that the guy you want?
Same time, I kind of think they're more like early '90s WCW.
In a lot of ways, they are
5-star matches they pull out.
Oh yeah.
Like
well, Kenny
Cody
Omega is a 5-star machine. Cody and Jericho. I didn't watch that one yet, but I gotta watch that match.
Okay.
I watched
Cody and his brother Dustin Rhodes. Oh my
Oh,
god!
that was a phenomenal match. We went off on that.
Yeah,
match
we
on
did.
the
We
podcast.
did. Yeah,
we loved that match. That was a lot of blood coming out of my.
Oh
boy
my
Goldie's
gosh,
face.
Goldie was
Goldie was red
gushing,
dust that day.
right?
That boy was crimson.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah. I think that's we should end that. We can keep talking wrestling all day,
we can
but
do
we
that
gotta
all day, but,
keep that to like an hour and a half on
here.
here.
So that being said, I'd like to thank Serge for his points at the end. We got Tough Talks with Thili and Dablock. Tune in next week whenever we show up.
Yeah. Boom. Any day. Schedule permitting. Sorry, I had the flu.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? It is what it is, and it is what it'll be. Tune in to us for the 1, 2, 3.
Boom.